Gomez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be honest, I was a little confused when we were announced that there was going to have this hearing, and that's just because of the fact that my Republican colleagues haven't really talked about how to help working families since I've been back on the committee. Here, let me throw out a question out there. What's the #1 state with the highest maternal mortality rate in the country? Mississippi, right? There are programs out there that can have a profound impact on poverty in Mississippi, on lifting up people, reducing the maternal mortality rate. One of them is expanding Medicaid in those states. It's not surprising that most of the states with the highest maternal mortality rates in this country are the same states that haven't expanded Medicaid. It's something that that state could do right away. But we haven't had a hearing on that, how the Affordable Care Act has cut maternal mortality in this country with the states that actually implemented it. But then we're having a hearing on TANF and fraud. You know what? Fraud has no place in any program. And the reason why I care about that is not only because it's protecting the tax dollars, but because then it undermines the public's confidence that a program actually helps the people that it's intended to help. The American people, I believe, have a big heart. They want to help folks when they're at the most in need, and especially make sure that they have an opportunity to succeed. I mean, that's what makes this, I think, this country great, is that caring for one another. I care about what happens to folks in Mississippi because those are my brothers and sisters as much as the people in my congressional district in Los Angeles. Right? Any kind of poverty in this country is an affront to our values. So I do believe we have to do something about TANF. That's why I joined my colleagues, Representative Davis and Chu, in introducing the TANF State Expenditure Integrity Act. And this bill would establish a TANF program, integrity unit at Health and Human Services to prevent and root out potential misuse of federal funds by state governments. But my worry about this hearing, it's not really about, people will use it as an excuse to add more barriers to preventing people from actually getting the help that they need. We've seen it before. You know, that system is broken, let's change it. I knew about TANF back in 1997 when I was actually a college student and I was interning for a Republican county supervisor in Riverside, California when it was switching over. And it was back then, it was about how do you kind of make these programs work better. But this program used to serve 80% of needy families 3 decades ago. Today, it just serves about 20. Does that sound like it's an effective program? But are we looking at like, but why is it, right? And I don't think it's, and I think it's because of a lot of the extra requirements in some states that are making it impossible for people to use. Mr. Dortch, can you talk about some of the barriers like upfront job search requirements that families face in accessing TANF programs?
Sure, I mean, and that's one of the most striking requirements that prevent people from being able to access the program. And we're not just talking about cash assistance, we're talking about everything from the wraparound services that folks need. When poverty has been so criminalized in our state, people don't want to come to a place where they feel like they are going to be the subject of some type of investigation. I mean, after the TANF fraud, we literally passed a bill to allow the state auditor to audit the tax returns of people that receive these benefits, even though there was no necessary reason for it. People don't want to feel like they're going to be looked at as a criminal when they come into something. So when we talk about people not accessing, not coming in, not knowing what TANF does, in our state, it's not a friendly place for you to go to. You don't feel like that's somewhere you need to check in to see if those resources are available.
And that's kind of a great point, is that if we add extra barriers, it makes it difficult. One of the greatest successes we had, we talked about it, is the enhanced child tax credit that cut child poverty by 50%, actually 40 to 60% depending on the community. And it's because it got the money out quick, it got it to the people who needed it, and there was appropriate checks to make sure that those people actually were supposed to get that money. Right? If we want to look at programs that succeed and how to make it work, especially for poor working class folks, let's do it. But to kind of like to do TANF, to say that we care about working people, I'm not sure if that really passes the smell test. I'm willing to work with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. We have some good ideas on ours. Let's get together and have the conversation on how to move forward. Thanks.